What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Van City Beats, Eats, and more. Today I'm joined by the one and only KatchFlow.
Hi.
Yes.
Happy to be here.
One of my dear friends who I've made over, I guess last year would have been
January.
2024. Happy one-year friendship!
Yeah.
Actually, though. Someone in our dance community, a teacher, choreographer, freestyler, event organizer, and just somebody who I'm really seeing budding in our Van City creative scene. I'm really happy to have you on the show, especially today.
To be here.
We're all feeling a bit frazzle-daws. It's been a bit of a setup, as you can hear and tell. Yes, girl, we know. We're all feeling it. I have all these surprises, these things that Kristen doesn't even know about. But on the show today, I really want to be able to talk to her about her dance journey, creative journey, some of the cool travels you've recently done. Literally just came back from Tampa from a really cool street dance event, and what's coming down the road. But I think first and foremost, before we start, we have to attend to the food.
Yeah, I am very curious to see what's under those plates.
So, there's a reason why it's called Van City Beats Eats. I did that on purpose because I want an excuse to eat.
Yeah.
So,
only the freshest.
on deck. Yeah, Z is awake now. Look at that. Hey, Z.
Yeah.
Tranquila,
She
please.
said chicken, hot sauce. I know. That's for me. No,
Okay,
not
ready?
For you. Yeah, let's try.
Cheers.
Cheers. Delicious.
Chicken's still juicy.
No, this is really
If
good.
you need
this
some
is,
rice
perfect.
to cut the heat a little. It's like a medium heat.
No, it's good.
What are some of your favorite dishes from back home?
Love me some plantain. I will make plantain and eat it for breakfast, lunch, dinner.
That was one of the things that I was thinking about if I could find that to bring you
It's-
on the show. But I'm like,
Oh,
this one won't do it justice to have
No,
any
it's
fruit
so
that's been
nice.
imported, man. It's not the same.
It's not,
I don't
but-
even bother.
it's you can find some decent ones, and I think because there's just not as many people eating plantain here, I never have an issue finding that's never sold out at the grocery store. So yeah, but I'll make it for you sometime.
Oh
in
my
return.
gosh,
Yeah,
yes, please,
Yeah. But
that
no,
would
this is
be
so good,
amazing.
and Bajan, not you calling around to find a Bajan hot sauce. That's
Yes,
so thoughtful.
I'd go to such lengths
Thank
for you.
Yeah,
okay?
thanks. I'm gonna have another bite.
I'm here to surprise and delight. That's and to ask questions. Speaking of Barbados and growing up in Barbados, what would you say was your first introduction to dance that made you feel like this punched you in the soul and meant a lot to you?
So, clarification, and it's confusing. So, you're not the first person to have said this, but I wasn't born in Barbados and I didn't grow up in Barbados. I grew up in Jamaica,
Yes.
which is confusing, but my background is Barbadian.
Yes.
So my dad's from Barbados. I know, I told you, it's confusing. And so that was my experience for the first, from age 1 to 7. So I was definitely, immersed in the culture, had a full-on thick Jamaican patois accent coming back to Canada. Just, had a very rich experience growing up there. That was also my introduction to dance and music, because if you know anything about Jamaican culture, you know that music and dancing is just part of everyday life. It's part of school, it's part of church, it's part of family gatherings, at the beach, anything. So I feel a very strong connection to Jamaican culture as well. And whenever I hear a Jamaican accent, it feels very much like comfort to me, because it's the first kind of accent that I grew up hearing and was surrounded by.
Yes.
So that's a big part of the influence for me, I think, for rhythm and music and being around dancehall, and that's why 90s dancehall too is that's my jam. I hear that and I'm no, there's not gonna be a better era for dancehall, in my opinion. That was the golden era for me. So I think just because I had such fond memories of those simple party grooves that just get everybody moving, all the aunties, all the grandpas, everything.
Yes.
Yeah, that was really special. And then moved back to Canada, like East Coast.
And that was at what age?
At age 7.
Got it.
Yeah. So I grew up mostly on the East Coast, but also like in the Caribbean. So definitely like similarities between the cultures in Jamaica and Barbados, but not, there's also like several differences as well. So yeah, so then being back on the East Coast, that was where I spent most of my time until coming to Vancouver, but I didn't move to Vancouver until I was an adult, so I don't have the experience of growing up here.
Yeah, you've already been defined as an adult from other places and stepping into here with that lens and that frame of thinking.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. That's so interesting. Okay, now that you've really painted the picture in my head, it makes me super curious about like, you know, growing up in different cultures, especially cultures that aren't, you know, your birthplace, and even when your birthplace is already a place that's like A, on stolen land, and B, with already all these other cultures, you know, like some people, I mean, at least I can speak from my own experience of having done the same, born somewhere else, grew up somewhere else. It's like, it's hard to feel sometimes that you can culturally identify, or you feel like you're enough. Like, am I Filipino enough because I'm too Canadian? Or when I go back to my own like homeland where I was born, like I'm also not enough and I'm too Canadian. Like it's, you know, did you ever feel that? Or did you just feel like each place that you lived, you really just, it became part of you? You know?
That's such a great question, and like a lot of layers to that.
Totally.
Because even like on top of that, what you were just saying, there's also the layer for me of being biracial. So the identity like of being biracial, coming from two different backgrounds, but then also like how society treats you. So like I identify as a Black biracial woman. But because in general, like the world and society treats me as a racialized person.
Right.
You know, so my mom is white, my dad is Black. In society, I feel that people see me as a Black person or a biracial Black person, a mixed person. So that's been my interaction with people, how people talk about me. You know, I don't think people pass me on the street and they're like, that's a white person. Like I don't think that's the experience, and that's not been the you know people the experience that I've received, and you know, just like names, racial slurs that I've been called by people, like you know, that's a clear indication of how people see me. So that's part of that. And then I would say like definitely growing up in different cultures and like having different backgrounds is it's interesting. Like I think the different places that I've lived, I've had to intentionally find my people and people that see me for who I am instead of like what box I fit in, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
And we're, as humans, we love categories. Like it's how our brain works. We like to
meaning making machines.
Yeah, to put people in boxes or categories is kind of like a psychological, I guess, habit that we have. And so when someone doesn't fit in a box, it's kind of like people don't really know what to do. So, you know, I've been around Black people who have said, oh, you're really whitewashed. And I've been around white people who have said, oh, you know, just different assumptions about me racially, or like, oh, but you're not like those other Black people, or like...
Wow.
Oh, so many things.
Yeah. Could write a book of what not
things
to
like
say.
that. Right, exactly. Different comments like that. Yeah. So it's been, but I will say, like, generally, I've been very warmly received by the Black community anywhere that I've been, which is, you know, that I think that speaks to shared experience and understanding. Yeah. Like my family on my dad's side has been through a lot in terms of racial trauma, and so that, you know, gets passed down, and the experience of that and communicated through generations. And I think also just connecting over Black culture, like things that you would say, things that you like, how you act in certain situations, what you have to worry about, what you don't have to worry about. So, you know, that's something that I just love getting these rubs, eh?
You're milking it on the show while Auntie's telling
A
her
guest
story.
star on the show. Yeah, that's something that's often on my mind. But thankful for people that really see me and make an effort to really understand who I am as a person. Yeah, so that's kind of been a motivation for me in organizing different events and connecting with different people. I'm also like somewhat of an extrovert, so I do like to connect with people and talk to different people in different corners of the community. And I've been really fortunate, I would say, like this past year and a half to meet some great people, you being one of those people.
Likewise.
I would say also Arthur, shout out Arthur.
Oh yes, Arthur Storm, Poppy.
And J-Lo, DJ J-Lo, Justin. A lot of, and I'm sure I'm forgetting some names, but just some really key figures in the community that have helped me navigate some of these new roles that I'm taking on, like just in terms of event organizing or sort of different maybe like leadership roles. I've really leaned on people in the community that have been doing this for a long time and have the wisdom and experience to help guide me in that. So I've really appreciated how generous you guys have been in helping me navigate that, because that's been like, I don't know if I'd be able to do it without the panic text messages. What do you guys do when this happens? Or what do you all do? How do you plan this when this happens? So, yeah.
That's so good. Aw, that makes me really happy to hear.
Yeah.
And it's, I mean, not only in terms of community organizing, but just like dance in and of itself. You know, you really are super talented, A.
Thank you.
And you work hard, and I've just been seeing you training. And, you know, it's like you're constantly exploring yourself through movement and sharing it with people. Like, what has been your dance journey with exploring different styles, and, you know, which one do you feel speaks to you the most at this time in your life?
Oh my goodness. Okay, well, so my first introduction to formal dance classes was like Afro-Caribbean dance in Jamaica. And then coming back to Canada, I did like competitive studio dance, recreational first, and then I started to do like studio competitions. So that was more classical style realm, like jazz, tap, ballet.
And you were young? Like,
like 9-ish, 9. Yeah, and then I did competition all the way through high school in those different styles. So, but I was also doing hip hop, and some of it was like studio hip hop, like what you think of when you think of studio hip hop. But I was also really lucky to have some really great teachers that really were connected to the source of hip hop and like really taught strong foundations. I had the opportunity to learn from several members of Dudat Entertainment, which is the first Canadian, I guess, like entertainment dancer agency that was founded by Luther Brown, who's a very big name now. Yeah, and he's Canadian. A lot of people forget that, but Luther, he reps Canada. And he trained a lot of dancers that lived mostly in the Toronto area, and my studio owners had reached out to a few of them to choreograph, so brought them down to Ottawa to choreograph. and teach us, which was amazing.
Yeah.
And also had the opportunity to learn from Spicy from Montreal. She also came and choreographed.
Spicy.
Yeah, Spicy. She had a big impact on me at a young age. So
Such a pillar to the
yes.
community.
And a lot of these people, I didn't realize the significance of what they had accomplished or what training they had until much later. And then I just, reflecting on it, realized how lucky I was to have learned from them and like really been exposed to multiple perspectives of people, because that's another thing I feel strongly about is like different perspectives are important. Because how a Black woman explains dance to you is going to be different than how a white man explains a dance move to you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so then I continued dancing, went to school, did more school, did dance during university, and then moved out to Vancouver and have been continuing on my mostly street dance journey. I also did a year of breaking. Shout out Crazy Smooth for being my first breaking teacher.
Yeah. He was the first person who taught me hustle, actually.
Really?
Yeah, at a house party in
lucky.
Ottawa.
That's a great person to learn hustle from as well. I really love learning different styles. Like, I really don't mind feeling like a beginner in a style and trying different things and like kind of looking silly, because
Low
it's
barrier
just
silliness.
yeah, it's like what is the worst thing that can happen if you're trying something new, and there's no expectations if you're a beginner, like you're trying something for the first time, so there's no reason to expect that you would be amazing at it when you're just trying. So I often like to try new styles or different styles, and then it's just exciting that there's so much growth to experience. Like you can feel like you've been working on one thing for a while, but then you try something else and you have so much to explore in that. So it's like, I really love that feeling of training and trying different things, learning different things. So I consider myself a lifelong student. I teach as well, but I take probably 5 times as many classes as I teach because I want to continue to learn and grow as a dancer, as an artist, as a teacher. I find taking classes really helps me to reflect on what it means to be a good teacher, because when you are on the other end of that, you can really see like, okay, I really like when the teacher does it this way, or I really like when they try this, just trying to go for that piece that's hers. At least she went for her piece. Not this one again.
We've been chatting about your upbringing, about dance, about the different styles that you've been exploring, and what has been present for you right now.
I think so. I think the more I learn different styles, the more I learn kind of what the shared root of dance is. Like, because a lot of people, and me too, like you see different styles and you're like, this is so different from this. But there's ways to find overlapping connection and similarities between the dances, which has helped to kind of connect the dots on some things or make it a little less intimidating to get into a certain style. So I've been enjoying training popping recently.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know. I don't really.
Your body wants to hit them pops,
I just love how it looks. I love how it feels. I really like G-funk music.
I know.
That
it's like fat, like PHAT fat.
Exactly.
That's the sound.
Yeah, so like when I discovered that genre of popping music, I was like, whoa, like this, I love this. So
I just saw you in California.
Yeah, so that's been something I've been training for a couple years as well. I entered my first popping battle in the fall. I was just like, I'm just gonna try it. I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna be a beginner at this. So yeah, it was a good experience. Got some good feedback and just had a lot of fun. I've also taken some locking classes, some whacking. I've learned from Simran, who I know has been on your show before, and a couple different teachers there. And then also training pretty regularly in Afro as well.
Ooh.
Different Afro genres and dance forms.
Yeah.
AJ Mazzotti is one of my mentors that has been teaching me quite a lot this year, but I've also learned from a lot of the Afro teachers in the city here. And then whenever I can, I took class in Ghana and Tanzania as well when I was there, which is really cool, very special.
Wow. When was that?
Yeah, in last April.
That's
It was a
amazing.
family trip, not for dance, but I was like, I can't be here and not take
dance.
a dance class. So,
Yeah, that's part
so
of the trip.
I squeezed it in a couple classes, and I was warmly received there, which was really nice. So yeah, so a lot of different styles and just kind of finding inspiration from the different styles that I train in. And then even within like one genre, there's like sub genres of like hip hop, umbrella, light feet under that, but so different in like just how it's approached, the moves, even the history of how it came about, and
Human
how new it
ingenuity
is.
and the development of culture. It just
Yes.
always blows my mind.
Yeah,
And it's always evolving.
exactly.
Yeah.
When I was in Tampa this weekend, I took 3 footwork classes in a row,
Yeah.
and different styles, so like footwork based, I guess, or where you need to use your feet. But
Yeah.
the first one was house with Denzel, which was amazing. They were all amazing.
Yeah.
And then light feet with E-Solo, and then Chicago footwork with King Charles. We ended with the fastest one, but it was
Like, save
so
up the
much,
juice.
It was so much fun, and like again, you can see the similarities and the overlap. And King Charles was talking about like the evolution and like trajectory of Chicago footwork, and house, and their connection, which I just thought was so interesting. And then E-Solo was talking about like the grammar used in light feet and how to put phrases together, and that was fascinating to me as well. That because I've taken
Like movement phrases.
like how, because there's like a grammar structure to it, like what you start with, what you continue with, and how you end a phrase, which I knew some of these things. I've taken quite a few light feet classes from Cry, Hype Girl Tune, shout out New York, shout out 36 Chambers.
Yes.
But I just hadn't heard the kind of like the grammar and the structure laid out in that way, because it was my first time learning from E-Solo, and that's kind of just his approach to teaching. So again, goes to that importance of different perspectives, and like you might learn something valuable from different people that teach the same style but have a different approach to it, or different experience with it. So I always encourage people to learn from like as many people as they can, because it will just enrich your experience and your understanding of a style. And at the end of the day, like, these dances are cultural and they're human based. So everyone has a different experience.
Yeah.
And those things are multiple truths that make up a culture.
Slice that, quote it, make it viral. That's the one. Let's get to the juice, girl.
All right.
You have been
What's next?
releasing so much promo the last
Yes.
couple of days. I know these are the deadlines that you've been working with. Down.
Yeah.
Down.
Gotta get through everything.
Yeah, I'm stoked on this event. It took place last year. Tell us about it, and how did you come up with the idea to create this jam?
Yeah. So last year was my first year hosting the event. It was also my first time hosting a battle, period, and organizing a battle. So that was a big learning curve for me. But basically, Vancouver has a very small Black population compared to other cities in North America, I will say, but also like particularly other Canadian cities such as Toronto, Montreal, even Ottawa. So because of that, like navigating different areas of the dance community in particular, but also just within the greater community in general, I really felt like there was a need for spaces that were more Black-led, Black-centered, because that wasn't the experience that I was necessarily coming into with different events and things like that. And a lot of these street dances that we are enjoying and a part of come from Black culture. And I just wanted a way to kind of bring the Black community together. Even though it's a smaller community, there's still ways to bring the community together and just experience that. And then also, I wanted for other people, like the non-Black community, to experience what it's like to be in a Black space and to be around the Black community in a dance setting. Because that's something that isn't necessarily common in different dance events in the city. So
Definitely.
yeah, just like for context, I might be the only Black female street dancer entering a battle for like 5 battles in a row in the city. So, you know, just having, again, that representation, that visibility, and that was kind of my goal for creating Obsidian. So I was like, well, what better month to do that than Black History Month, Black History and Futures Month. So last year I partnered with the Black Arts Center, which is a nonprofit organization in Surrey.
Beautiful space that
great,
they had.
Yeah, they had a great space. They were amazing to work with. And yeah, that event went well. It was well received by the community. I got a lot of good feedback from different people that attended, just that it was a different experience than anything that they had experienced in Vancouver. A lot of Black youth came and battled. I had a lot of young, kind of like high school age Black women, young girls, young women, just give me that feedback afterwards that it was really cool to be in that space and ask me more questions about what it's like to dance professionally or to be in different roles. And I just really saw that like representation effect of having seen someone that looks like them do something with dance or in the community.
Hey, the secret is I have nothing in my hands but the smell of kibble. She's just going to keep smelling it.
To keep her looking for it.
Yeah.
The response was really great last year. The only thing that was challenging is that our space wasn't big enough to accommodate everyone that wanted to come. So,
what a good problem to have!
I know, but it also was sad that we couldn't accommodate people that wanted to be a part of that. So this year we have a bigger venue, which is exciting, and I've also added another category. We're going to do an Afro battle, so it's 1v1 hip-hop, which is the OG category, and then we're adding 1v1 Afro, and this, to my knowledge, and to the community leaders in the Afro scene that I've spoken to, will be Vancouver's first organized Afro battle in history.
Ooh, really?
Yeah.
Like Venom even said?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that's sick, dude.
So there's been like
pull up. Okay, better question is how big is the venue this time?
So this time the venue it's able to accommodate like more than twice what we had last year. So
Perfect.
so it's at the Beaumont.
But still, don't sleep.
Don't sleep because last year the tickets sold out a week before the event. And I had lots of people messaging me for last minute tickets. I was like, sorry, y'all. I told you it was going to sell out. Yeah. I'm foreseeing it's going to sell out again this year.
Agreed.
That's what I am hoping for. I mean,
you have a lot of cool people coming from out of town, too.
Yeah, there's people, the judges, but also, advertising, spreading the word to different people, connecting with different people and inviting them. There's actually some out of town people that are planning to come and enter the battle. So that's exciting. And I just think that I really want to put on a really great event for Vancouver and just have like a really nice celebration of Black culture. And again, like the reason I'm doing this is to uplift and amplify Black voices and Black talent, Black artistry, the Black community, and for people to feel celebrated and safe in a space that is meant for them, but also inclusive to all people and anybody. So I want everyone to experience what that's like. Another thing about Obsidian is that it has an entirely Black hired team. So in terms of our judges, MC, host, DJ, media, anyone who's like part of our core team is from the Black community. So that's important to me as well, to uplift the Black community, make sure the Black people are getting paid. I was very intentional about doing that so that, you know, people, again, can experience what that is like to be a part of an event that has that. That's also why I like to go to the States and really immerse myself in African American culture, where a lot of these dances came from, because
Absolutely.
that environment is not, you can't get that here.
Absolutely.
Like not even just Vancouver I'm talking about, but like even other cities that do have more of a Black community. Like you don't, it's just different because the circumstances are different, the culture is different, the context is different, the politics are different. So learning that history has been very eye-opening to me, and going to these places has been really transformative in how I look at street dance culture, what I've learned about it, just even by observing and absorbing the environment and the shared collective understanding of a space when there's kind of a united understanding of the culture. So like in New York, that's been the case. I've done a couple battles there, also trained there, learned more about the history there, really connected and just spent a lot of time talking to people, which I think is like the dance training, definitely. I learned a lot, got my butt kicked, a lot of different drills that we did and stuff like that, classes, but really talking with people about their experience and history is where I really learned the most. And then Los Angeles, again, different vibe, different history, different people. And then going down to Seattle, which is so close to us, and even though it's close to us, also has differences in culture. And then Tampa, wow.
Yo. I was gonna ask, like, what would you say was something that you really learned from experiencing this event?
So the event is Thesis. Thesis dance event. Shout out Hans and the Floridians for putting that on.
10 years, right?
10-year anniversary. So I just got back from that. Went with a couple of girlfriends from Toronto, and there's a couple of other Canadians as well.
So fun.
Went down there. It was so fun. But let me tell you, the energy and the culture of Florida and Tampa was wild. Like, it was incredible to experience those elements of Southern hospitality and just that energy and enthusiasm and individuality, like the most creative stuff I've ever seen, and seeing people just fluently express themselves so creatively in such a rich environment. Like, it was really authentic and special, like very supportive. It's like representative of the States in general, but also like the South. And then street dance in general, but a lot of different styles too. Like there was krump, there was vogue, there was whacking, there was breaking, popping, hip hop, of course. House.
So rich.
Like, yes, it was just so many styles, and I think that also really speaks to the inclusivity of the event, that people feel, Chicago footwork as well, that people feel welcome to enter the battle and be in that space, and, you know, want to share their dance with people at that event. And the judging panel was very diverse in terms of their background and experience, and music was amazing, which is a big factor for, you know, how a jam goes.
As an event organizer, what was something that you noticed that you're like, I'm going to put that one in my back pocket, of like something that made the event really impactful?
Just how like present the organizers were in all aspects of the event. Like, you could go and talk to the organizers and really connect with them about your experience, and they really cared about how you felt how things were going, receiving feedback, you know, like, oh, how's the event been for you guys so far? Like, you know, what have you enjoyed? What's different about it for you here versus Canada? I said to Hans at the end of the weekend, I was like, I get now why you are the way you are and why you dance the way you dance. Like, I feel like I understand you more as a person now. And he was like, yes. He's like, that was the point. Like, I want people to come to this event and just experience what Florida has to offer, what it's like here. And just the energy was sky high. And like it was just such a beautiful thing to experience the socials, dancing, music, connecting, conversation with people was like so great. So I don't know if it's like an organizational thing that I would take, but just like the approach, I guess, to being personable and like staying connected to the people that are coming, you know, traveling to be at your event, even though it's like such a big event and there's so much to do all the time. It's like still taking the time to speak with people and express gratitude for coming to their event and supporting, because, you know, without people supporting events, you can't put them on, because it's expensive and it's a lot of work. So, you know, that's something I've really had a good appreciation for, being behind the scenes organizing it, is like how much work goes into organizing an event. Even if it's a small jam, it's a lot that needs to be organized. I don't think people get into like organizing jams like for the money or for like the status, if you can even gain status from organizing an event. I think you really have to love to do it, because it's a lot of work. It's super hard and it's stressful. Yeah. But then the day comes and like you're looking around and you're like,
that's the reward.
Yeah, it's so worth it to
bringing
have
everybody together,
and like just to have that shared experience of that event, and
seeing everyone elevate.
Yeah, and really, you know, I want people to see the vibrancy that we have in the city. Yes. And of course there's things that I wish that might be a little different, but I think every city has that, and exactly. I want to do my best on my part to try and contribute to making spaces that I wish that I had when I first moved here. But I think that we can build and we can create. So I want to try and do my part.
I really appreciate you taking the time and rolling with this.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for having me.
Sharing your stories, sharing your learning, your experiences. You know, I know from like the first time that we had talked, we had so many great conversations. And yeah, it was awesome to be able to include that in this archive. Yeah. You know, I was walking with Zia earlier today outside and just thinking about that, where I'm like, we're coming up on like, girl, I think it's like 76 episodes. You might be our 76th.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah, like
congratulations.
A lot.
That's like huge.
You know, and that it's an archive essentially of this specific moment in time, this creative scene, and who is really like the class of 2023 to 2025, you know. And one thing that you definitely said that many different guests who've been on this show have said is just like, I needed to create this thing that I'm a part of because it wasn't here before. Yeah. And I want to see it happen. And I also see other people who need this space. Yes. And so, you know, big shout outs to you.
Thank you.
I'm here to support. Yeah. I'm here for all of it. I'm stoked for what's coming up next month.
Yes.
And
you are a great supporter, Kaz, of many, many corners of the community. And anytime I mention your name, everyone's like brightens up. So thank you for what you do and what you put on and how you support people. It's really special. So thank you. Are you going to cry?
I was going to high five you, but it's just pure slobber, you know what I mean? Bro, I'm like, man, I'm ready for this live stream to be over. Like, this dog, we really just did it to ourselves today.
It's a wrap.
It's a wrap. Thank you once again to everyone who's been watching, tuning in on the replay. Big shout outs to Ali, who has been filling in for, you know, doing our cam ops. And yeah, much love. Peace. This is Van City Beats, Eats, and... Peace. Bye.
Bye.